Tabu itu kan karena nggak diomongin ya. Tapi kalau semakin sering diomongin kan semakin jadi nggak tabu.
Betul.
Misalnya sekarang sex education udah banyak banget yang ngomongin. Dan sex education udah mulai menjadi tidak tabu.
Betul.
Gitu loh. Jadi menurut aku lingerie pada zaman aku memang tabu. Tapi kalau lingerie zaman sekarang apakah masih tabu? Menurut aku udah nggak segitu parah loh. Orang tuh udah bisa mulai accept buying lingerie for themselves, feeling sexy and feeling pretty for themselves. Itu sudah terbangun gitu. So I think it's great.
It is great. Tapi you were the one that took that risk.
Yeah, I did. I love risk.
Hello, hi everyone. Welcome back to MTF with me, Samira. Hari ini my co-host cannot make it, but it's okay. We're still gonna have a good time because today's topic is quite exciting. I'm really excited about it, and we have an amazing guest as well. But before that, we want to thank our sponsor, obviously L'Oreal, for allowing us to do this and bringing on empowering and inspiring women. So thank you so much, L'Oreal. Okay, so hari ini we're gonna talk about something very, very important sebenarnya, tapi mungkin it's not always in conversation, but we're going to talk about taboos, being accepted by society, being accepted by your family for maybe going off the beaten path. So with no other ado, we're going to talk to Mbak Ida Swasti. So she is the founder and CEO of Niplets and of a few other ventures in the same kind of landscape. Hi, Ida. How are you doing?
Hi.
Good to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me here.
So hari ini we're gonna go deep down, and I'd love to just like listen to your story karena it's a very interesting one, and I think your success and has been shaped by the barriers that you've crossed.
Yeah.
So maybe you can give like a small introduction about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Ida. I'm 27 years old now. I have actually been doing Niplets for 6 years this year. Another business, my second brand, and then apa lagi ya?
And your venture into other things supporting women.
Yeah.
Supporting
women and empowering women.
Supporting and empowering women. So how did you get the idea of Niplets? Like, what's your founder story?
Sebenarnya tuh dulu I already collect a lot of lingerie since I was 16 years old. I got introduced to G-string di umur 16 tahun by a friend of mine. Terus abis itu ever since then pas pakai tuh kayak merasa kok beda ya rasanya kalau daripada pakai CD biasa gitu loh kayak the grandma panties gitu loh. So I was like, it gives me confidence. I love it. Then I started to collect things. Because I'm a collector. I like to collect things.
You like to collect things?
Yeah. And then mulai gimana ya ceritanya? And then
so you had this passion, this natural passion for a garment basically.
Yes.
And you were like, I love the way it makes me feel.
Yes.
You want others to feel like that maybe?
Sebelum itu enggak. Jadi
enggak.
lebih ke gini nih, waktu balik Indo, because I was in Singapore kan. Waktu aku balik Indo, kok aku nyari lingerie tuh susah ya. Maksudnya nggak ada yang sesuai dengan taste aku. Atau misalnya waktu dijual di online tuh kayak not my style lah mostly ya. Tapi kalau misalnya kayak ke mall, it's so expensive. It's like I think you know deh kalau misalnya di beberapa brand yang ada di mall gitu, one G-string it cost around
mahal.
200 to 300 gitu loh. Meanwhile, I feel like it's just too expensive for my pocket gitu. Dan dari sana aku ngeliat kayaknya sebenarnya ada gap ya. Nah, then I started to want to sell the lingerie. Tujuan utama adalah untuk collect myself.
It always starts with your initial passion sebenarnya. Like same story with Tinkerlust kayaknya. I had so much stuff in my closet and I just wanted easy way to get it out. So sebenarnya I think a lot of founders they start with their own problem that they have, right?
Yes.
And their own passion.
Start with a problem and give a solution. Right?
Give a solution. Yeah. So the gap, right? And apalagi kayak sometimes lingerie we feel like nggak ada yang lihat juga gitu. Tapi it's also about how it makes us feel as women, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gitu sih memang.
So then what was the first thing you did when you're like, yaudah deh, gue mau bikin bisnis gitu?
Karena kalau misalnya beli sendiri, karena kalau misalnya mau bikin gitu kan masih ada MOQ-nya ya.
Iya.
Dan aku nggak mungkin punya the same style for like 12 pieces atau 24 pieces kan. So I have to buy in bulk. And then ya udah aku ambil satu, the rest I sell. Gitu. Cuma dari situ aja mulainya. Jadi kayak istilahnya kayak dagang lah ya jatuhnya. And then ya udah deh. Ternyata di market diterima. Ternyata barang-barang yang aku pilih itu taste-nya beda daripada yang lain. Gitu. Jadi ternyata masuk banget ke marketnya Indo yang masih jarang banget. Especially online last time when I started itu dikit banget yang jual lingerie. Jadi mostly itu kan pada saat itu pernah trennya tuh baju semua kan, sama bikini. Bikini tuh masih tren banget di tahun 2016. Dan gak ada sama sekali yang jual lingerie atau yang jual lingerie tapi taste-nya tuh sweet banget. Nah sedangkan aku ke approach yang a bit kinky.
I see.
Iya jadi lebih kayak harness, ada yang kayak all black, rendanya yang.
And was there a market for it?
Yes.
Really? Tapi sebenarnya ada marketnya tapi they're just like shy.
Iya.
Behind closed doors.
Iya, bener. Karena juga kalau misalnya, and I found out juga kalau orang belanja ke offline gitu ya, belanja lingerie offline itu, they tend to be very shy untuk kan biasanya ada SPG datang nyamperin, itu malu biasanya. So online I think is a good solution karena we don't have to face people kan, we just buy it then it sent to our house gitu.
Does it, kalau misalnya ngelihat ke customer base, has anything shocked you about your customers?
Iya sih, lumayan.
Kayak gimana? Bisa ceritain nggak?
Tapi ini boleh cerita nih?
Boleh dong.
Beneran ya? Tapi
emang shocking banget.
Not shocking sih, cuma tapi ini aja kali ya.
It's between us.
Between ya. Kalau misalnya anti mikirnya boleh dimasukin. Jadi banyak banget yang religious banget ternyata. Banyak yang religious dan butuh lingerie gitu. I never know karena kan aku pernah do ads ya. Then I keep targeting people yang in my head mereka tuh yang party goers gitu ya. Turns out waktu aku ngehitnya yang a bit religious itu boom banget.
I get what you mean. Well, because maybe if like religion is one aspect of their life, tapi sebenarnya they have this whole other realm to them, right?
Yes.
That we don't see. They only show for a certain amount of people or themselves. Right?
Makanya pas itu it's quite shocking juga sih karena ternyata these party goers don't really use lingerie. Iya, malahan yang target lainnya yang pakai lingerie banget gitu.
I see. So do you think that like you wanted to start this lingerie business and then I mean lingerie, it's like sexy, it's like scandalous, it's how did your friends or your family react to that?
Kalau friend obviously last time waktu di tahun 2016 they are still okay karena aku masih jual mulai kayak bralette, kayak bralette yang ada harness-harnessnya segala macam. And then going to 2018 itu I chose lingerie yang bener-bener kinky. Nah di situ aku udah mulai dapat kayak diomongin lah ya. Iya diomongin kayak dia ngapain sih lu jual kayak begini, ini tuh nakal banget loh. Ini tuh lu kayak show yourself as a naughty girl. Are you not ashamed?
So sebenarnya gitu. They said you are the business's brand juga sih sebenarnya.
That's true.
And you're okay with being identified like that.
It wasn't actually. Sebenarnya pertama-tama aku kayak merasa kayak nggak diterima kan di society ya. Jadi mikirnya kayak aku sempet terpukul dan sedih sih kayak should I not sell the kinkiest stuff anymore atau
soalnya when you even say kinky gitu, it's so that word is a little bit taboo juga.
Yeah.
Like no woman would want to be identified as kinky. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the women I know. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe some people are, but it's almost behind closed doors. We don't talk about it. It's not in mainstream conversation.
That's true.
It's only like the whispers between friends. So it is to be identified as kinky is not something I feel a lot of women want to be known for. Ya kan?
Yeah, betul.
So now dengan jadi foundernya Niplets, you have been branded that, right? So how did you react?
It's okay now. It's okay now. I adjusted
6 years after. Tapi kalau misalnya kita rewind ke 2016 itu waktu itu kayak gimana? How did you deal with it?
Terpukul pasti sih pertama-tamanya ya. Cuma and then I think kayak buat apa ya harus mikirin orang lain ya. Maksudnya I do me, I'm happy about it. it's good for my business. People love the kinky stuff. Meskipun behind the closed door, the sales is good, so why not? Kenapa aku harus dengerin di society yang bilang kinky is not good, bilang being sexy is not for everyone? Padahal sebenarnya women they love to be sexy, they wanna be sexy, gitu kan? Gitu.
100% true, but they don't want to be known.
Yes,
exactly,
yes.
Right. So that whole taboo is like you're going face forward into that, right? Into that territory. What kind of emotions were you going through? Like, was there any uncertainty? Was there any backlash?
Backlash ada pasti. Aku pernah dikatain kayak jangan merusak anak bangsa gitu tuh ada kayak itu kalau mau rusak sendiri aja kayak gitu tuh ada. Tapi aku mikir juga sih kayak nggak ngerusak sih sebenarnya, itu kan pilihan orang masing-masing ya. They want to express themselves, so
if
why
they're
not?
Not gonna buy it from you, they're gonna buy it somewhere else.
Yes.
Iya kan?
Iya. Jadi kayak aku cuma menyediakan space untuk mereka bisa pilih aja, pilih yang what they like, and then feel sexy. Gitu. So ya udah sih, that time emotionsnya emang roller coaster banget sih. Cuma I tend to, and then later on I accepted it gitu loh. Jadi kayak aku nggak merasa I have to cover myself because of the society.
You don't have to cover yourself because of the society.
Yes.
You have to. Is it because you're coming from Singapore and you're like 22 at that time? You're 22 coming from Singapore and then in this new territory. Tapi huge market di Indonesia.
Yeah.
But is it because of the society that we live in that is a little bit more conservative, that these taboos exist? Tapi kalau misalnya it was done in America or if it was done in Singapore, mungkin enggak, situationnya will be different.
Enggak sih sebenarnya.
You think it will be the same?
It will be the same. Kenapa? Soalnya let's say kita pikir di Singapura nggak konservatif, ya ternyata they're very conservative as well.
Okay.
Gitu. Kalau Amerika emang mungkin beda cerita ya. Cuma kalau Singapura menurut aku masih konservatif.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be the same in Singapore. Cuma turns out menurut aku gini loh, tabu itu kan karena nggak diomongin ya.
Yeah.
Tapi kalau semakin sering diomongin kan semakin jadi nggak tabu.
Betul.
Misalnya sekarang sex education udah banyak banget yang ngomongin, and then sex education udah mulai menjadi tidak tabu.
Betul.
Gitu loh. Jadi menurut aku lingerie pada zaman aku memang tabu, tapi kalau lingerie zaman sekarang apakah masih tabu? Menurut aku udah nggak segitu parah loh.
Yeah.
Orang tuh udah bisa mulai accept buying lingerie for themselves, feeling sexy and feeling pretty for themselves. Itu sudah terbangun gitu. So I think it's great.
It is great. Tapi you were the one that took that risk.
Yeah, I did. I love risk.
You were the one that took that risk. You're the risk taker. You broke the glass ceiling at that moment. How does that feel, like looking back on the backlash, looking back on like maybe your family's disapproval? Terus sekarang kayak itu going through that pasti membangun dirinya juga kan. Tell me about that experience.
I feel proud now.
You feel proud?
I'm proud. Karena aku juga pikir gini sih, kalau nggak aku yang lakuin siapa lagi?
Yeah.
Kalau nggak aku yang ambil risknya, and then who?
Yeah.
Emang that time masih banyak banget orang-orang yang berpikir tuh tidak seprogresif itu menurut aku. So I think right timing juga sih for me to think that way gitu.
Yes, right time for sure. And I feel like a lot of people were thinking that juga, tapi they just didn't have the balls to do it. Right? They didn't have they didn't have the bravery. And I think that what I want to emphasize here is like kalau misalnya kita mau take risks or to go where people have not gone before, it does take that courage.
Yes.
Is it worth it? Most likely yes. Karena not only do you go in like uncertain territory, tapi you become a stronger version of yourself.
Yes.
So even if not for the returns in commercial business you become a different person.
Yes.
You know, and then you become better for your next journey. So I think that kayak dengan ini we should be able to have the courage to break taboos gitu kan.
That's true.
Because there's a taboo like masih banyak
masih banget.
And yeah, tapi gila sih itu, I mean you do have a lot of courage. Like I couldn't do it. Yeah.
Karena menurut aku opportunity comes with risk.
Opportunity does come with risk, and not everybody is built to take the risk.
True.
Yeah, and that's why some people are where they are, and some people stay where the same. Kan? the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, tapi juga the bigger the fall if right if you don't do it well. Have you ever taken the wrong decision, maybe been too risky? Ada nggak sih?
Luckily sih enggak ya, sampai hari ini sih belum.
Yeah,
kayak selalu setiap kali aku ambil resiko, it's calculated.
But how do you think that our society would be shaped if we have more conversations that were a little bit more uncomfortable gitu?
Pasti progresif sih.
Lebih
progresif lagi.
Yeah.
And I love being progressive.
Yeah. Well, do you think that 5 tahun ini there have been a lot of movements?
Yeah, banget.
Yeah.
Di lingerie sendiri sih sekarang emang udah mulai bisa accepting, especially when I launched the Real People Real Body campaign itu merubah banyak sekali pandangan orang terhadap lingerie sih menurut aku. Dulu sebelum aku launch that campaign, memang masih cenderung dibilangnya kayak lingerie itu buat cewek nakal, cewek nggak bener. Nah sekarang lebih bisa diterima sebagai cara mencintai diri, because I promoted it that way juga.
It's a totally different narrative.
Yes.
It's a totally different narrative. Yeah. And sometimes that comes with time, and sometimes that comes with our own education, like our own education of the market. Tapi kita harus juga be patient to educate pastinya.
Harus.
I'm pretty sure your market, the fashion landscape that you're in is totally different now than before, juga kan, as you mentioned.
Different.
Yeah. So how have you changed as an individual through this experience?
Actually di awal-awal aku build Nipples itu aku juga masih insecure banget. Ini personal banget sih menurut aku. Insecure banget sama badan aku, especially with my small tits.
Oh gitu.
Yeah, I have a very small boobs kayak AA cup, and I was really ashamed because I was in a society where they think the best boobs atau the good boobs is like B cup and plus. So dan aku sering banget dikata-katain kayak tepos lo gitu-gitu tuh. It's like daily lah. Even my mom did that to me.
Really?
Yeah, even my dad tuh bilang kayak gini, aduh kasihan ya anak mama udah cakep tapi nggak ada boobsnya. So but when I be in a lingerie, when I wear lingerie, it makes me feel I'm sexy without, even though I have a small boobs. So I think like sebenarnya nggak masalah sih pakai lingerie with a small boobs, big boobs, ya nggak ada masalah. It's just how you see in the mirror. How you see yourself and how you actually can fall for yourself. How you love yourself. Itu menurut aku penting banget. Dan dari journey aku itu, that is why I created the Real People Real Body itu sebenarnya. Because kayak juga ada beberapa hal lainnya kayak misalnya dulu kan aku masih pakai model Caucasians ya. Beberapa followers aku mereka bilang kayak Ci aku susah banget nih relate sama modelnya Cici soalnya you're using Caucasian and I'm not, I'm Indonesian gitu loh. How gimana ya?
So did you change?
Yeah, I changed. Kayak
and
sekarang
how did your sales
significantly
better,
jauh banget. Karena then people starting to realize kayak sebenarnya gue bisa bener-bener relate sama the muses. They're not models, they're muses. Jadi followers aku yang mau contribute back to the society.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they're just regular people
trying
to express themselves.
Yes.
Gila sih, that's what brands are doing now, and you've done it before. You know?
I did that in 2019 sih.
2019. Yeah, that's still ahead, like around 3-4 years ago. Yeah, that's amazing. So you feel like you've changed have your customers changed? Like maksudnya, maybe you've seen the evolution and the growth of your customers. Their voices, how they express themselves. Is it different?
It's different now. Semakin banyak perempuan yang mau speak up.
Okay.
Iya, semakin banyak perempuan yang berani mengekspresikan dirinya.
Yeah.
Itu I can see that, especially in my followers juga.
Yeah. And what do you think right now is the most taboo topics?
The most taboo topics
that maybe we should like talk more about.
Sebenarnya nggak setabu itu, cuma mungkin solusinya masih banyak yang belum tahu. Menurut aku, when you want to express yourself in social media especially, banyak banget yang masih memikirkan what would my family think about me if I do that.
But don't you think that's important?
It's important. That is why I think it's something yang harus diomongin sebenarnya. Karena some people they don't know how to deal with it. But I dealt with it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to that. So your parents weren't 100% supportive of your career choice, right?
Yeah.
Especially because you're young, you're venturing into like entrepreneurship, where even entrepreneurship, no matter apapun juga, maybe they want you to have like a big brand name company, right? So that's another thing. And then number 3 is like the industry or the landscape that you're entering is also very like controversial.
Sensitive. Yes,
Sensitive, right? And you're dealing with this backlash. Like, how did you communicate to them? How did you express that? Okay, this is what I want. I'm confident in this decision. And how did they accept?
Yang pertama ya, itu pasti dari uangnya sih ke orang tua.
Okay.
Can you support yourself first?
Really? So that was their in
Yes. Can you make money from your business and support yourself?
Yeah.
But I proved them bisa. And then the second one adalah it takes longer ya waktu pada saat Bonyok harus nerima aku musing. Jadi muse-nya sendiri.
Oke.
Iya, karena mereka selalu bilang kayak kamu jangan jadi muse-nya ya, kamu jangan jadi modelnya ya. Nanti nggak ada cowok yang mau sama kamu loh. Nanti nggak ada, nanti kamu dipandangnya nggak baik loh. But I love it. I love giving impact through my social media.
Yeah.
Dan it takes longer. It takes around 2 years ya untuk aku.
2 years.
2 years. Yes.
2 years is not overnight. It's like
It
dan
is
pastinya pelan-pelan.
Pelan-pelan. Dan I have to do it consistently.
Yeah.
So I have to bring up this topic a lot of times lah.
And was there a moment where you're like, ya udah deh, pusing kayak nggak mau dengerin deh, like better they don't know what I do and I don't tell them?
No.
So you always wanted to remain open.
Yeah.
And do you think that that's a good advice? Kayak pokoknya if you're going through something, have an open communication.
Yes.
Let them understand and let you yourself understand their worry.
Yes.
Kayak gitu ya.
Open discussion always. Kalau menurut aku, luckily my parents masih bisa diajak discuss ya. Dan salah satunya juga sebenarnya gini loh. Kalau ngomong sama orang tua tuh kan harus pakai tutur kata yang pas ya.
Yeah.
Nggak bisa maksa, nggak bisa tuh emotional.
Yes.
Nggak bisa cepet-cepet, nggak bisa expect instantly gitu loh. Jadi emang harus dilakuin pelan-pelan dengan tutur kata yang pas, dengan edukasi yang pas, dengan penataran yang memadahi lah maksudnya kayak gitu. Jadi pada saat aku mulai bilang, actually I did that first ya. Aku udah keluar dulu social media whatever, and then baru aku cerita sama orang tua aku. Mereka nggak suka. Terus aku bilang kayak, do you know kalau misalnya aku tuh waktu aku ngepost foto gini, how impactful it is to Indonesian women, for those women yang masih belum percaya diri, untuk perempuan-perempuan yang masih memandang tubuhnya jelek, yang masih belum pede sama sekali. Dan itu aku lakukan selama 2 tahun itu, dan akhirnya sekarang mereka bisa terima dan support, full support. Kayak my dad told me this, kayak papa tahu kamu melakukan yang terbaik, ya udah lakukan yang terbaik.
Yeah,
gitu.
They said they have trust gitu.
Yes.
Tapi it took time ya.
It took time.
I mean, as a parent, sebenarnya I can relate karena there's a lot of topics, and I have 2 daughters. One is 10, the other is 6. Tapi yang 10 kan bentar lagi nih jadi preteen, and then I will have to have those conversations, whether it be about sex education, about periods, about love gitu. And I'm dreading it. Kayak aduh gimana nih sebenarnya kan. But the thing is like it's either they find out from someone else, and then they have their own ideas about it, or they find it out about through me, and then, we can have an open conversation, then it can last throughout our relationship. Tapi sebenarnya as a parent juga, it's awkward, right? Karena we're looking at our baby gitu kan. We're looking at our baby and we're talking about like sex education. Itu kayak another different uncomfortableness for us, as parents. So I can understand why your parents felt that way because, I couldn't imagine like being able to be so accepting if it was very controversial or sensitive kayak gitu. Yeah, even I consider myself progressive, but it's a different when I see it outside of my family gitu kan.
Ngerti sih, paham sih. Cuma the thing that I told my parents adalah gini, anak itu pasti punya pemikirannya sendiri, dan mereka actually bisa decide. Tapi mungkin kalau semuda anak kamu mungkin masih perlu pembinaan ya. Nah kalau pada masanya aku sudah mulai dewasa. Jadi aku berpikir aku punya pikiranku sendiri, dan pikiran aku tuh aku juga paham aku nggak bisa maksain pikiranku ke orang tua, tapi orang tua juga nggak bisa maksain pikirannya ke aku. So gimana cara meet in the middle? That is why all the explanations yang aku berikan ke orang tuaku itu berdasarkan data.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really, so basically they're very logical people.
Iya, aku paksa untuk logical sih sebenarnya. Kayak
Karena
datanya ada gitu loh.
Karena kalau nggak logical jadinya emosi.
Iya.
Iya.
Nah, karena datanya ada, aku show kayak aku actually like did presentations to them.
Wow.
Ya, untuk kasih tahu nih data-datanya seperti ini. Dan kalau misalnya aku juga discuss my brand, kayak the sales is growing up. Karena mereka suka lihat duit ya. The sales is good, and then kayak when I do this is the impact that I made, kayak gitu-gitu. Then I got covered a lot in magazine sama online media, and I show it to them juga. So berarti sebenarnya anak gue tuh tidak buruk ya.
Yeah.
Oh ternyata anak gue make an impact. It's okay.
Yeah.
Tapi itu setelah 2 tahun. Tapi I have to do it consistently.
And
Yes.
you have to have patience to do that.
Yeah.
Tapi sekarang tuh sebenarnya going back to taboos, right? There's a lot of topics that just because they're not as sensitive gitu, they're pretty vanilla. Tapi actually it's not cultural norms, so it becomes taboo. Misalnya kayak not wanting to get married. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
pasangan, they've been in a relationship. Why aren't you not getting married? Terus kalau misalnya udah married, they don't want to have kids.
Yeah, child free.
Yeah, right. Child free. That's another one. Even me, sometimes when I see like my best friends who are married, I'm like, okay, now it's next step. Tapi kayak because we only see one way of life.
Yes.
Right. And we're not opening our eyes to different types of life. Sebenarnya there is different ways that we can spend our days, and we have to appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's more about like acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah, acceptance emang play a big role.
A big role. Yeah.
Sama being open minded menurut aku juga. Sometimes kan orang mikirnya open minded tuh about bad stuff ya. Sebenarnya being open minded is to be open for close minded people as well.
Yeah.
Jadi untuk menerima semua perspektif ya. Kayak menerima semua pendapat dan ya udah be okay with it, be
and
cool
not
about
judge.
it, and not
Don't
judge.
come
Yeah.
with the judgment.
Yes.
Just like accept it, and then ya udah. Okay,
udah.
good. Like you're a good person, I'm a good person. We have both good intentions.
Yeah.
Tapi we decide to
Having different path.
having a different path. So I've learned like a lot about taboos, and now I'm like thinking, okay, there's a better way to deal with it rather than avoid, right? Like go straight on, be brave, have courage, especially with my 2 daughters. Do you have any like last advice that we can share with like our listeners about dealing with taboo, dealing with uncomfortable scenarios?
Taboo topics tuh pasti uncomfortable di awal.
Yeah.
Tapi ketika you accept it with open mind, sebenarnya it's good to know. Mungkin nggak harus ditolak dulu, cari tahu dulu aja, dengerin aja dulu, diolah sendiri aja. Nanti kan later on mungkin it takes time untuk for you to understand, but it's okay. Kan setiap orang punya waktu yang masing-masing ya.
Yeah.
So just have an open mind sih.
Yeah, have an open mind, be patient with the other party.
Yes.
And also like be patient with yourself as you're going through the uncomfortableness of maybe going into new territories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Betul.
Okay, Ida, I really had a great chat with you. Thank you for being my co-host this morning.
Thank you.
And everybody check out Niplets and also her other ranges of products. Very interesting, definitely. So thank you so much, MTFers, for tuning in today. Thank you, L'Oreal. And don't forget to follow L'Oreal at Get the Look, and also Swasti at SSS Wasti.
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
Yes. And also Niplets _official. And also don't forget to follow Stellar Women if you guys have any questions, concerns, or feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.